In this video, we're going to be looking at looping methods in JavaScript. So I got my VS Code open here, and I just have an array of numbers right below. So we're going to be going through a few things. We're not going to look at all the different methods, but we're going to be looking at some of the more common ones. So in this video, we're going to be looking at map, filter, and reduce. But before we get into that, let's look at kind of the old way, how you might loop through an array like this. So let's start off, and first of all, in the past we'd have to kind of create a new empty array. So let's say a new array here. Okay, and we just set that to an empty array, and then we'd have to go for let I is equal to 0, I is less than nums.length, and then you have to go I plus plus, and the I plus plus iterates each time, and then we'd open it up and we'd have to say something like new array dot push, and then you'd go nums at I, and say we wanted to multiply it by 2. We'd have to do something like that, and then come down here and we could just console.log new array there. And then if we come over to here, we run that, we see we got 2, 4, 10, 16, 18, which is just these doubled. So in the past, that's how you'd kind of do it, and that's not overly complicated, but there's these new array methods that can help with functions like this. So let's comment that out, and we'll come down here, and the first one we're going to look at is .map. So that'll be our first one. So let's come down below that, and we'll save this in a variable. So let's go let mapped equal, and we're going to use this same array up here to loop through. So we're going to go let mapped equal nums dot map, and then it's going to take a num, and we're going to use the arrow function here. I'll show you the other syntax maybe after, and we'll go num times 2. So we're basically doing the same thing as above, and then let's console log that out. What do we call it? Mapped. Okay, so let's see. We go refresh that, and we can see we get the same thing. So basically the exact same thing above, but we see how much simpler that is right there. So that's pretty cool. And just to explain what we're going through here, so it's going to iterate, .map is going to iterate through each number, and that's our num variable. Now we could set this to anything we want. We could say t and t times 2 and save that and come back, and we're going to get the same thing again. So that is not an issue. That's just a variable that we're creating. Now what it's doing is you're going to iterate, so each num in the nums, we're going to go num and multiply that by 2. So that's map. I think that one's fairly straightforward, so that should be good. Now the next one we're going to look at is the filter method. So if we come down here, we'll comment that out, and we'll go filter there, and we're just going to go let filtered equal, and then again we'll use the same array, the nums array. So we'll go nums.filter, and we'll do the other syntax here. So we did the arrow syntax, that's kind of the ES6 newer syntax, but we can also go and pass an actual function like that, and then here we're going to go num, which is our iteration variable, and we're going to return num if it's we'll say greater than 5. So save that, and then we'll just come down here, console.log, and filtered, we called that. Okay, and if we come back over here and run this, we can see we got 8 and 9. So how filters work in here is, again, we're iterating through this array, and for each item, each num in the nums array, we're going to return it if it meets this condition here. So only the numbers are going to be returned that are greater than 5 in this case, and obviously this condition can be anything that you like. Okay, so that's filter. So now let's take a look. We'll comment that out. Okay, so the last method we're going to look at is going to be reduce. So we'll go dot reduce here, and we're going to sum up all the array values here. So we're going to go 1 plus 2 plus 5 plus 8 plus 9, and then we're going to get the total of that. And that's kind of a common example you'll see with reduce, so not the most originality there. So let's go let sum, and that's going to equal to nums dot reduce, and then we're going to pass in 2 things here. So the first is an accumulator, so we'll just go ACC, and then the second is the current value. So we'll go just current, and then we're going to use again an arrow function here, and then we're going to return the accumulator, and we'll go plus the current value there. And that's good. And then if we come down here and console.log summed. All right, so if we save that, come over to here and refresh this, and we have 25. So that's the result of going 1 plus 2 is 3, so on. Okay, so that is reduce. So basically what we're doing is we're iterating through each item here, and we have 2 values. So the current value is the value we're on, and then the accumulator is the total, so the current total. So after this first one, we're going to be at 3. 1 plus 2, we're going to be at 3. And then we're going to go 3 plus 5 is 8, and 8 plus 8 is 16, and so forth. So that's basically how you use reduce. You take an accumulator, you take a current value, and then you can do whatever you want in the return statement to those 2 values. Okay, and one more thing that we can do is we can pass in a second argument here. So say we passed in 5. We'll start at 5 and then go through here. So if we save that, actually, let's just see what that does. We can refresh that, and we get 30 instead of 25 because we started at 5 and then went through the same process. So that's it for these initial array looping methods. There's a bunch of others you can use. There's sort, there's find, there's a bunch of them. So feel free to go and look those up. This is just kind of an intro to get you started with some of the more common ones. I would say .map is probably what I use the most. But there's a time and place for each of them. So if you like this video, go ahead and subscribe or give it a like. And until next time, thanks for watching.